Chapter 2153. Big Move Super Battleship. He didn't notice that although Ling spoke coldly, there was an unusual color in her beautiful pupils like black gemstones. She was indeed just a shell. But Zhang Yi forgot that the absence of spiritual essence and only retaining the body and memories does not necessarily mean that it is not a living being. Before the Doomsday crisis broke out, creatures other than intelligent creatures did not have souls, but they also had their own thoughts. So, the Ling in front of me is not the same Ling as before, but she is still the same Ling. Now that I have Ling's words, I finally feel more confident. Next, I'll try to temper their tempers and see what happens on the uninhabited island. Zhang Yi was in a very good mood. But the bigger surprise is yet to come. Lu Karen tugged at Zhang Yi's sleeve. Brother, don't just focus on Ling. In fact, there are things that are more worthy of your anticipation. Zhang Yi blinked. Oh, what's the surprise? Lu Karen smiled mysteriously. Just follow me and you'll find out. She took Zhang Yi out of the fortress and came to the huge enclosed factory outside. Only then did Zhang Yi remember the very ancient super battleship he had obtained from the Songyuan clan. Lu Karen brought Zhang Yi to the factory. The lights turned on with a click, and a brand new warship appeared in front of Zhang Yi. The surface of the battleship was carefully cleaned, and the original old and dilapidated feeling had long disappeared. The enormous hull is comparable to the legendary Noah's Ark, and it seems that it can accommodate all the creatures in the world. There is no obvious muzzle, probably because the weapon used is no longer the original artillery shell. Are you able to control this battleship? Zhang Yi said with a smile, his hands behind his back. This surprise is indeed a good one. In the subsequent war against the Wulwan Empire, it will serve as a battleship. If a lot of mechanical life forms were placed on it, it would pose a huge threat to the Wulwan Empire. A mysterious arc appeared at the corner of Lu Karen's mouth. Of course. But this isn't even my surprise for you. Hee hee. Brother, I've already mastered all the technology for this battleship. Now, if you give me enough materials, I can completely replicate a battleship like this on a 1-to-1 scale. Lu Karen was extremely proud, with his arms folded across his chest and a smug look on his face. Zhang Yi widened his eyes and looked at Lu Karen in disbelief. So soon? Lu Karen's ability is void transformation, which can be called a miracle in material science. First, she can analyze the material and structure of anything through touch. Second, she can change the atomic structure of matter and turn stone into gold out of thin air. Moreover, she was a genius in the field of mechanics. These aspects combined gave her a strong learning ability. Almost all the technological products in the entire Tianhai fortress were created by her. For example, the earliest snowmobiles and weapons used by Zhang Yi and others, and later the Snowy Owl Mecha and Exoskeleton Mecha. Zhang Yi has always trusted Lu Karen's abilities. But today, he was still shocked. After all, the scale of this super battleship is too large. As the main battleship of the Songyuan clan, its destructive power is unimaginable. And today, Lu Karen actually told him that she could replicate it? Lu Karen was very satisfied with Zhang Yi's expression. He hummed twice in satisfaction and waved his fingers. Brother, everything is just a piece of cake for Kuran. She explained very seriously. This battleship looks huge, but in reality, only a part of it has the core technology. I've previously studied their mechanical life forms and demon mechas, which already contain the most core secrets of the Songyuan clan. As long as you understand the logic of the machine, you can understand everything else. It's like a company that can build cars can also build tanks. That is, she rubbed her hands and said to Zhang Yi with a smile, if you want to build a warship like this, the resources you need to consume. How many? Zhang Yi asked directly. We'll probably need to gather all of Huaxiu Nation's aircraft carriers. Furthermore, if we want to deploy them for a full-scale battle, they'll have to consume a large oil field for energy. How long will it take to complete? Lu Karen scratched his head. It might take a while. Even with the help of so many mechanical life form workers, working day and night, it will still take 3 months to complete. But brother, your battle plan can't wait until then, right? Zhang Yi placed his hand on Lu Karen's shoulder and said with a gentle and encouraging look, "How could that be? For the sake of my beloved, flammable sister, I have to wait no matter how long it takes. This is like Miss Lu falling from the sky." She gave Zhang Yi a huge surprise. Originally, Zhang Yi was 100% sure that he could defeat the Wulwan Kingdom. But the so-called 100% is just a judgment based on the intelligence he has. Once the war really breaks out, all kinds of accidents may occur. Then the 100% chance of success in self-judgment may become 70% or 80%. You never know which will come first, tomorrow or an accident. Therefore, Zhang Yi did not dare to be negligent at all, and racked his brains every day to think about how to further improve the overall strength of the Huaxiu National Coalition forces. "I'm going to contact all the regions right now. Even if it means draining their savings, we have to gather these supplies. Well, if I go there myself, it will take them 10 days or half a month to deliver them. What a waste of time. You gather those mechanical life form workers first. I'll have Deng Shintong and Bailey Chongqing arrange for people to build a large factory for me." After Zhang Yi made some arrangements at a very fast speed, he directly teleported away. Lu Karen stood there in a daze, his hands still pointing in the direction of the super battleship. "Brother, I haven't introduced its functions to you yet." She wanted to say how powerful the battleship's defenses were. The material on it had an anti-energy shield dozens of times more powerful than barrier stone, and it also had more than 10,000 laser weapons of various calibers. But Zhang Yi had already left in a hurry. Lu Kuoran smiled helplessly. "Brother, there's really nothing I can do about you." She put her hands on her hips and proudly puffed out her chest, which had just begun to show its eyes. "But leave the command of the warship to me. Brother just needs to do his job." "Little ones," she shouted loudly, and soon, thousands of round mechanical heads emerged from the battleship. Some of them held electric drills, some held rags and screwdrivers, and looked at Lu Karen eagerly. "Get ready to work." Lu Karen twisted his wrist, looking full of energy. Chapter 2154. Stay a while. On the other side, Zhang Yi once again traveled across the entire Huaxiu Kingdom in one day. He was not at all polite in taking all the supplies he could get and plundered the 6 major districts again. "Give me all those abandoned war vehicles and tanks in your homes. I can use the materials." "The East China Sea region's aircraft carrier sank? Don't worry, that thing can't get far. I'll go and fish it out. Don't worry about it, I'm useful. Any scrap metal is good to me. I trust your region's military industry. Brother Shaolai, your northwest region is rich in resources. Give me an oil mine. I know you are also short of resources, but I need it more right now. Don't pretend. Your region has the most resources in the entire Huaxiu Kingdom. Go explore more and dig underground. One more thing. The war plan has been postponed. Well, maybe for half a year at most." The senior executives of the 6 districts were all stunned. The battle plan was originally to attack the Wulwan Empire within a few months. As a result, it took Zhang Yi half a year at the beginning. It's not that they can't accept it, but they don't know why Zhang Yi suddenly changed his mind. Zhang Yi's explanation was simple. "I feel the current preparations are not sufficient, so we need to wait a little longer. This matter is of great importance." Zhang Yi has never been a risk-taker. Since he cannot be fully prepared, he would rather lie low. The 6 major districts have now confirmed that Zhang Yi is the leader of this war. Since he said so, there must be a reason, so everyone agreed. And in the following period of time, the entire southern sea area will not be peaceful. Because of the information Zhang Yi deliberately spread, some strange people from other countries were attracted to enter the cave to investigate. This made the lizard man very excited, thinking that the bait he had spread out was effective. One after another, warships from various countries began to appear around the uninhabited island. This is the high seas, so anyone can come here. Group after group of alien teams entered to search for treasure. But gradually, Clot and others began to find something wrong. They didn't know whether these people were from Huaxiu. After all, they looked at humans on land like people look at ants and couldn't tell their appearance. But the strength of these people is really quite average. Half a month has passed, and although many people have appeared, there is not even a single alien of Ypsilon's level. We must be patient and release more bait. I don't believe chaos won't appear. Klot still uses the previous tactics. Most of the aliens who entered the cave were killed, and a few were deliberately released, allowing them to take out the ore containing the spirit of sacrifice and fragments of the source of God. Gradually, the news spread more and more widely, and even from Colombia, some strangers came across the ocean. The person who came was none other than Zhang Yi's old acquaintance, Cardier. Known as the Lord of the Ocean, his ability index is only 25,000 points now, but this is almost his limit. In order to gain strength, he even transformed most of his body. After arriving near the uninhabited island, Cardier did not rush to approach, but stayed at a distance. He felt a little strange. This place is so close to Huaxu country, but why haven't any strange people from Huaxu country appeared? Not to mention that disgustingly cautious fellow, Hundun. Even the turtles and birds from the East China Sea are gone. This is very unusual. Although Cartier is arrogant, he is not stupid. He noticed something was wrong. So, he immediately dived into the deep sea, and in the water, he activated his ability, Absolute Power. This ability can command all marine creatures below Ypsilon to obey his orders. A powerful wave spread out in all directions with him as the center. Not long after, the originally cold seabed produced a huge movement like a tsunami. Boom! One after another, giant sea beasts rushed towards the direction where Cardier was, and schools of fish of all sizes were also approaching this direction. Before long, billions of underwater creatures gathered here. Cardier used his abilities to communicate with them. Has anything unusual happened around that island recently? After he asked the question, the sea beasts quickly conveyed signals to Cardier through the animal communication method. Yes. Just over a month ago, a group of very strange creatures swam over from the bottom of the sea. Those guys are powerful and terrifying. But they didn't kill any sea monsters, as if they were afraid of alerting something. They seem to be doing something underneath that island. I can feel the waves all the time. After receiving these signals, the corners of Cardier's mouth curled up. Sure enough, there's something fishy going on. It seems someone deliberately set up a venue here, using fragments of the holy essence and the sacrificial spirit to attract people. Although I don't know what the other party's intentions are, it's still best to stay away. Chaos is extremely vigilant. If he doesn't get involved in this matter, I can't guarantee that he'll be fine. Cardier was very proud and thought he was so powerful that he could see through the trap of this place at a glance. However, he was too lazy to remind people from other countries. He just asked the Colombian Navy aliens not to approach this area and just observe from a distance. Then he left the vicinity of the uninhabited island. However, not everyone can resist such temptation. In fact, the analysis made by Brad and others from the Wulwan Empire was correct. Humans are indeed extremely greedy. Some extraordinary people in small and medium-sized countries want to seize this opportunity to change their fate, and even some tank-level Ypsilons have come from afar. Because obtaining a sacrificial spirit means that one's strength will be greatly improved in a short period of time. However, it is extremely difficult to rely entirely on natural improvement of the supernatural power index. People can only tap into their own potential and develop in-depth skills to use their supernatural powers, but they cannot naturally increase the total amount of spiritual energy in their bodies. This is why the aliens in other regions grew slowly in the 4 years after the apocalypse. More and more strangers are heading to the uninhabited island, hoping to get a chance. This phenomenon made Klot feel very happy, indicating that his trap worked. Although they never saw the person they wanted to kill coming, there were strangers coming to die every day, which gave him hope and a sense of accomplishment. At this time, Zhang Yi was collecting as many materials and energy as possible, while learning from Ling how to develop his potential. With me, we'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.